Since 1993, the Gagliardi Trophy has been awarded 30 times in honor of John Gagliardi, the winningest head coach in college football history. Some people call the Gagliardi Trophy the Division III Heisman, but it's so much more. For years, it has celebrated the well-rounded nature of Division III football's student athletes, on and off the field. John Gagliardi believed that the success of his players was built on more than just tackles and touchdowns.
Beautiful part about these guys, not only do they win national championships, but they have gone on to have national great careers in their lives. They've all, so many of them had wonderful careers, and I'm proud of the fact that they continued to win long after they left St. John's.
Since John Gagliardi left us in 2018, we've honored 5 Gagliardi Trophy winners.
That winner is Jackson Erdman, junior quarterback for St. John's. And, we talked about him throughout the postseason. All right, Brock, I am here to tell you on behalf of the Gagliardi Trophy Committee that you have won the 2019 Gagliardi Trophy. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
2021 Gagliardi Trophy is won by Blaine Hawkins of Central.
Our 2022 Gagliardi Trophy winner is Ethan.
That the 2023 Gagliardi Trophy goes to Luke Layden, the quarterback.
But we've also shined the spotlight on over 70 of the tens of thousands of Division III football players that have proven themselves worthy on and off the field to be named Gagliardi Trophy Semifinalists. Today, we do it again as we feature our 18 semifinalists for the 2024 Gagliardi Trophy before naming this year's finalists.
We are never going home, where the wild ones living on the go. You know that there is no rest for the wicked. I will show you if you come with me, make you feel like it was all a dream. Imagine it's like heaven for a sinner. We are never going home, where the wild ones living on the go. You know that there is no rest for the wicked. I will show you if you come with me, make you feel like it was all a dream. Imagine it's like heaven for a sinner. I can lead the way. go. You know that there is no rest for the wicked. I will show you if you come with me, make you feel like it was all a dream. Imagine it's like heaven for a sinner. I can lead the way, let me ease your pain. When the whole world is against you, I will carry you away through the darkest days. When the whole world is against you, I will carry you with me. Time will never heal your scars. Might be hard to fix a broken heart, but I can make you forget for a moment. What if this is all we'll ever have? Make it count on, hold on to the past, and we could light up the sky of tomorrow. I can lead the way, let me ease your pain. When the whole world is against you, I will carry you away through the darkest days. When the whole world is against you, I will carry you with me.
Well, I guess it's time for us to carry you through another set of Gagliardi Trophy semifinalists here in 2024. Pat Coleman, a great group of 18 this year, semifinalists. We're going to name some finalists here. But as always, let's start talking about how we even got here in the first place. Well, besides the fact we had 25,000 to choose from, more or less, out there in Division III football. But how do we get to the 18 semifinalists and what we're about to do on this show with the finalists?
Yeah, absolutely, Frank. Thanks. The players are nominated, and it's a number of players, well more than the 18, dozens of players nominated by their host schools, by their sports information directors, their football coaches and athletic directors. And then this is where the J Club at St. John's comes in. They take that initial list and they whittle it down to the number of semifinalists that appear on the ballot. And the goal is to not make any mistakes, I think, at that level. Make sure that everybody who has a reasonable chance of winning the award gets on the ballot, so the people like you and I, like the fans and the other 40 national voters, can take a whack at this, choose their top three, and then we're here to whittle that down to those however many finalists we have. How many finalists do we have? we're not going to tell you until we have all the finalists.
Well, I will say that picking only a top 3 made it a challenge with all these terrific names. 3 out of 18 used to be a little bit easier when you could go a little bit deeper and say, oh, well, I've got this one and this one. But when you're leaving people out completely, it is tougher out there. And I took some extra time with my ballot. I know other people did as well. So let's see where we go with this. Folks, for those of you that don't know, John Gagliardi is the person this award is named after, the longtime head coach of St. John's, the Johnnies, and he was the winningest head coach in college football history. He passed away in 2018, as we said in our open. And Pat, just your recollection of John Gagliardi and the legacy he has left behind.
I, as someone who lives here in Minnesota, run into so many people who have a St. John's background or who have a background with one of the other schools in the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. And, basically you hear the stories about John Gagliardi. You hear stories from St. John's and St. Ben's grad who took his class at the university and learned about life and learned about coaching and learned about all sorts of things. You hear from the people who, for multiple generations, including some who had grandchildren of original St. John's players under John Gagliardi, their grandchildren played for him. He left a legacy across small college football. You hear this day and age people still talking about what a revelation it is when a coach decides that we're going to go with limited contact in practice. Well, John Gagliardi is the guy who invented that. He invented no contact practice. You do not practice tackling at St. John's University under John Gagliardi. And of course, he went on to, as you say, become the winningest coach in college football history, 4 national championships, 2 of them at the NCAA Division III level. And, is a very much, embodies for this award what it's all about. The well-roundedness of the whole person, not just a performance on the field, but performance in the community, performance in the classroom. It really speaks to what the spirit of Division III is. Not that I get to define the spirit of Division III, but it really is an award that's emblematic of John, the man, and emblematic of Division III football, I think.
John Gagliardi, as I said, passed away in 2018, but we still remember him to this day through especially this Gagliardi Trophy. Pat, it's time for the finalists, and let us start here. This is a great group, as we said, and everybody is not named. Still be proud. We'll show them later on in the show one more time, but first things first, let's name our first finalist here for the 2024 Gagliardi Trophy. And that first finalist is quarterback of Illinois College, Destin Chance. And what a phenomenal set of statistics he had this season. The leader in Division III in total points responsible for in 2024. That's 348. That's 36 more than anybody else out there. And he didn't even qualify for playoffs, so think about that. Completed 61% of his passes this season with 50 touchdowns, 9 interceptions only against that. Threw for 3,593 yards, ran for 586 and 8 touchdowns. And he also racked up 7 touchdown passes 3 times in 2024 versus Milliken, Knox, and Beloit, and had 6 against Lawrence and Grinnell. We'll show folks his off-the-field activities, etc., as well as you start to talk about Destin Chance.
Yeah, Destin Chance, and of course you see some of his off-the-field accomplishments here. All of these guys have, great work in terms of community service and some fine academic qualifications. Destin Chance, the Blue Boys this year just missing out on the playoffs. They went 8-2. But it was, I wouldn't really say it was the fault of the offense. Even in the games that Illinois College lost, they still averaged almost 30 points a game. And then down the stretch, 50 against Chicago, 77 against Knox, 84 against Lawrence, 56 against Grinnell, 42 versus Cornell, and 96 against Beloit. Looked like that's something to prove, something to get off their chest there in Jacksonville, Illinois. Had a trip to the playoffs last year. Destin Chance, the proprietor of a very, very potent offense for the Illinois College Blue Boys this year.
I saw him in a loss versus Lake Forest, and he was spectacular even in that game in a back-and-forth affair there. Once again, though, our first finalist is Illinois College quarterback Destin Chance. Let's move on to our second finalist here, and if you think it's all quarterbacks here, no, it's not. Here we go with a linebacker from Carnegie Mellon University, Robert Corey. He racked up 18 and a half tackles for loss and is number 4 in the NCAA Division III with 5 forced fumbles for the Tartans, who advanced to the third round of the playoffs. He's a team leader in total tackles, including 9 tackles, all solo, in a 30-27 win at Washington and Jefferson, a major game for them to have their playoff run into the playoffs this season, I should say. And he had 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 11 total tackles for the Tartans in 2 playoff games this season. Pat, it's tough sometimes for defensive players to get the accolades in this type of scenario against all these offensive players with stats galore, but Robert Corey is very deserving of this finalist tag.
You can see where it says here, near perfect collegiate GPA. This number is out there in other places, so I am just going to say 3.97 GPA as a mechanical engineering major. It mentions the Tesla internship. That's not the only internship that he's had over the course of his collegiate career. This is a guy who's going to go on to do great things. Also has a postgraduate scholarship already lined up as being one of the finalists for the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is a prestigious award across all divisions of college football. And, Carnegie Mellon, over the course of the past couple of years, Frank, you know this very well. They went from 8-2 to 11-1, 10-1 this year, 10-2, getting into the third round of the playoffs and playing Mount Union really tight all the way into the fourth quarter. Corey was certainly one of them. One of the reasons why that program got to where it's gotten over the course of the past couple of years under Coach Larson, and very deserving of having gotten to this stage here for this award.
His twin brother Tommy, who played with him at Carnegie Mellon, he's got to be proud and excited with him right now. Again, Robert Corey, the second finalist we're naming here for the 2024 Gagliardi Trophy. Linebacker, Carnegie Mellon University. Let's continue for a third finalist at this point in time. And here's somebody you want to talk about racking up statistics. This person qualifies in kind of a hometown type of feel here for you, Pat, and your folks out there in Minnesota. This, obviously, I think I've given it away at this point, is St. John's quarterback, Aaron Severson. The semifinalist for a second year in a row. He completed 76% of his passes, throwing 51 touchdowns and 4 interceptions against that. Was 77% in efficiency with 19 touchdowns in 5 games versus playoff teams. St. John's and the MIAC all-time leader in career completions, passing yards, touchdown passes, 147 on that category. Threw for over 4,300 yards in 2024. Amazing number there. Threw 6 touchdowns versus St. Olaf, 5 against 5 different teams. You can see there. Aaron Severson just seemed to be playing a different brand of football all season long for the Johnnies. And, I was a little surprised by the Susquehanna result, as we may remember, but it was not for any, lack of output by him in that game, as he was just throwing a lot of touchdowns and a lot of stats in that game. But they came up short. But Aaron Severson, a deserving finalist. Here's some off-the-field accolades as well, as you tell us more about him.
Yeah, I mean, Severson, was at the beginning of the season on the short list of the best quarterbacks all time at St. John's University football. I think he put himself at the very top of that list when it was all said and done. There's another St. John's quarterback who's won this award. You saw it back at the beginning at the top of this show, right? Not all that long ago. And this is basically the guy who followed. I thought Severson just played at a completely different level this year than he had in previous years. And, that team certainly, took it on the chin by not getting into the playoffs in 2023. I think a lot of people thought that they would, myself included. This year, a little bit more on a mission, and just got knocked off at the end by that Susquehanna team, which is still playing as you and I are doing this show. So great year for Severson, great career for Severson. And yes, so St. John's folks do determine who the semifinalists are. Nobody would deny that he should be a semifinalist. On that list of 18, there aren't any St. John's alumni who vote for this award when it is all said and done. So for him to be here, I don't think anybody should be surprised.
Yeah, no surprise at all, honestly. Aaron Severson, a very deserving finalist. Again here, we're talking about the St. John's quarterback, Aaron Severson, and congratulations to him. So 3 down, and time to round out our final 4 here, per se, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit, I guess. But right now, the 4th finalist for this Gagliardi Trophy in 2024 is the winner of the Gagliardi Trophy in 2023. That makes him senior quarterback now of North Central, Luke Lanin. And Luke has just had such a phenomenal career, but to have that Gagliardi Trophy, you saw the clip earlier on when you presented it to him, or at least the news of it. He threw a touchdown pass in 57 consecutive games. That's every game in his entire career at North Central. He's completed 162 of his 240 passes this season, 35 touchdowns against just 5 interceptions, passing for nearly 2,700 yards, while also running for 894 and 13 scores. All division record holder for career touchdowns responsible for, which is now at 203, and holds the D3 career mark for total offensive yards with 15,327. Simply amazing numbers there. But this is not necessarily a career trophy. We're looking at this season, and Luke Lanin's had a phenomenal season. That's why the Cardinals are still alive in the playoffs, Pat. Tell us more about him as we look at his off-the-field accomplishments.
Well, first of all, that's 8.85 miles of career total offense, which is just enough to get you from North Central to their arch rival to the north, and beyond that, just a little bit. He's a guy, of course, I like to say, we mentioned it on our podcast fairly often. He's also a D3Baseball.com all-region baseball player for the Cardinals. He's an outfielder. You see his times on the Dean's List. He's working on his master's degree starting this past January. A couple of great causes that he is involved with as well. So when you talked about season versus career, every individual voter gets to take that differently, right? They decide how they feel about that. Statistically, Lanin maybe not as good this year. Lanin doesn't have the wide receivers this year that he did last year. D'Angelo Hardy is a guy who did not come back because he was a senior in 2023. And he makes a really great quarterback look completely untouchable. So this is a year where, yes, he has more incomplete passes than touchdowns. That's not a stat that's usually something that we have to worry about. But Lanin is made up for it by running the ball even more, and the running game at North Central's done really well with him pulling it down and taking it and going. The guy who averages double-digit yards per carry as a quarterback is an incredible weapon. And, they were 1 2-point conversion away from winning the national championship last year. They're 1 game away from getting back to the national championship, which would be for the 5th year in a row if they're able to do it this weekend against Susquehanna. So fantastic career, but also a really great season for Luke Lanin.
Indeed. We could just go on for hours about him, honestly. And just a phenomenal person, getting to know him throughout these years and interviews, on our show, your show, at the national championship. And he deserves to be back here. There's no doubt. Whether or not he wins it, people ask the question, has anybody ever won it twice? Yes, Kevin Burke from Mount Union did win it back-to-back. Luke Lanin has an opportunity to do the same thing here. We'll see what happens with respect to his opportunity, but he is a finalist now for the Gagliardi Trophy. The North Central quarterback is indeed Luke Lanin.
That's
well, not much else for me to say.
Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. Not much else I was just going to say for me to say at this point. Congratulations to the finalists. There is one more thing I should say, actually, and that is our fifth finalist. Yes, we do have one more for you, folks. Is actually somebody that Luke Lanin, might know from last year. Here's somebody extraordinarily deserving, who, like you said, had lost receivers, that he was accustomed to last year and still had a phenomenal year with his team. Who else but Cortland's quarterback, Zach Boyes. He led the Red Dragons to only their third 10-0 regular season in program history, including 291 consecutive pass attempts without an interception. Ran for 132 yards and a touchdown in the Corsica Jug win versus arch rival Ithaca, and they needed him to do that in that very tight game. Passed for 414 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Empire 8 clinching win at Brockport. Again, very necessary as they won that game with about a half minute left on the clock. They threw for 2,957 yards and 28 touchdowns, did Zach, with only 3 interceptions, completing 67% of his passes. It's tough to put into words the value of him on that team, because when he needed to pull the ball down and run it, he made those decisions very well throughout his last couple of years especially. But this year, like I said, they needed him without the same level of receiving talent across the board. When you lose Cole Burgess and J.J. Lapp, Pat, obviously, and then injuries occur on top of that, it's not going to be the same kind of year, but Zach Boyes wasn't skipping a beat himself.
Yeah, you kind of know at the beginning of the year what Cortland thinks its receiving core is going to be like when you make the decision to move your All-American running back, Jaden Alfano St. John, and split him out and turn him into a wide receiver. They knew they needed some athleticism and some skill out there, and he was able to provide that. But, Boyes this season, you're just talking about Boyes overall, right? This is a guy, of course, who's a son of a longtime Division III head coach in Jerry Boyes, who coached at Buffalo State for a long time, including those years where Buffalo State was in the NCAA Division III playoffs and a threat to advance in those postseason games. He's a guy who's been around the game his entire life, and you see some of the great things that he's done off the field as well. And I don't know much else to say about him, frankly. The numbers are there. You've seen the highlights. He's got a national championship under his belt from last year, and of course they were knocked off in the third round against Springfield this season, so did not get a chance to defend that championship. But still a fantastic season for him, and it would have been a problem if he had not been on this list. So I'm glad we've got 5 of them. Let's put it that way. Indeed, and again, this is not in any kind of order. We do shuffle them for a little bit of drama from time to time and whatnot, but it has no bearing on who the winner is or isn't in this situation. So rest assured, it is still fully random what we did here. And Zach Boyes is the 5th and final finalist we're naming here for the 2024 Gagliardi Trophy, quarterback of Cortland. Let's quickly review our finalists for those joining us. Then we'll take a look at the fan vote, and then we'll show you the rest of the semifinalists one more time on the bottom of the screen after we're done with that. So first off, we named our first finalist. That is Destin Chance, quarterback, Illinois College. Then a linebacker from Carnegie Mellon, Robert Corey. That was followed by quarterback for St. John's, Aaron Severson. Then the 2023 winner of the Gagliardi Trophy, North Central quarterback, Luke Lanin. And finally, the 5th finalist we named, Cortland quarterback, Zach Boyes. So generally, our fan vote has done a pretty good job of at least getting 1 or 2 of the finalists that we've had listed. This year, let's see how they did, and we'll go from number 4 to number 1 here with the number of votes listed as well. And number 4 on the fan vote was Springfield running back Arsen Shatefan. Interesting. Then, with 1,300 votes, about 300 more votes than Arsen, was Bantalina of Pacific.
Well, okay. Still nobody that's on the list. Then, with 1,766 votes, Jacob Pugh from Washington and Jefferson. And the winner of the fan vote with 2,142 votes is DePaul quarterback Nathan McCahill. So 0 for 4 in the fan vote this year. Not enough to carry any of the finalists or any of those four to the finalist column ultimately, Pat. And that should tell you right there how spread out this is because of the 18 terrific names we had in front of us to vote for. So this is not, the fans doing a bad job. It was all spread out. I know on my own ballot, I'm not seeing names I had necessarily voted for in the finalist pool. And that's just the way it goes here when you have this much talent in front of us. So as I'm going to let you kind of close things out here as we look at the other semifinalists at the bottom of the screen. Scroll by. Again, folks, congratulations to all of you. To the 13 of you that were not named finalists, don't take anything about or by that. It's been a phenomenal season for each one of you, and thank you for what you've given to us in this 2024 Division III college football season. Pat, take it away.
Yeah, I think first off, thanks to all the sports information directors who nominated not only the 18 players, but all the others who did not make the semifinalists list. Thanks to the SIDs who turned out the vote. I think that's one of the reasons why sometimes the vote doesn't necessarily match the results. Right, so the fan ballot, that 43rd ballot, I believe, of the group, isn't going to have any of the finalists on it. Mine did, just for the record. And Frank and I do not know at this time who will be the Gagliardi Trophy winner. We will let you guys know, and that would be on January 3rd, 2025. Don't forget, of course, that the Stag Bowl doesn't happen until after the turn of the new year. National semifinals this Saturday between Johns Hopkins and Mount Union, and between Susquehanna and North Central. That's on Saturday, December 21st. And then we have a break. Then we come back with a Sunday evening Stag Bowl, and we'll tell you on Friday who wins that trophy. So we don't know. Obviously, we don't know who's playing in the Stag Bowl. We don't know who the winner is. Will we have to bring the trophy with us? These are all great questions that we cannot answer right now, but you'll find out coming up in just a little over 2 weeks.
Indeed, and for those wondering, it is still the 2024 Gagliardi Trophy winner and the 2024 national champion we're dealing with, despite the fact it's now in 2025. That's just the way it works, so the nomenclature continues as normal here. We're not skipping a year or anything like that, so we will have a 2024 Gagliardi Trophy winner coming up, as Pat said, on January 3rd. Thanks to the J Club and to Stearns Bank for all they do in entrusting us with this process of naming these finalists in this manner, and then also naming the champion of this award later on. So we just can't thank you enough for what you allow us to do every year, and it gets more and more exciting for us every year. And thanks to everybody that's been watching this show, and let's see some more football. We got 3 more games still to come this season, so here we go. In the meantime, folks, be safe out there, and we will see you soon.